seeing a lot of people talk about their HRT use, that it's okay as you age, you might need to get on a little growth, you might need to get on a little testosterone. That is not true. You start to inject these things into your body, you start sending signals to the glands that naturally produce these hormones that everything's okay. They don't need to work hard or work more or less or whatever to maintain that homeostasis. And people typically get on these substances is because their hormones are already low. When they get tested, they say, oh, my levels are this or that. And then based on that, they'll get prescribed a certain amount of growth hormone or testosterone. The point I'm getting here is that there was an issue from the beginning. It doesn't get addressed early on or even later on or just addressed, period. You're never going to be able to find a holistic solution to having healthy hormones. Because as you inject these things into your body, you're sending signals to those glands that everything's okay. But everything's not okay. When I first got started, I was working with people that were 50, 60 years old that had abused steroids, abused HRT therapy. Not necessarily abused HRT therapy, actually did it as recommended. They got older and older, they noticed that it wasn't working. They just kept upping the dose. It wasn't a solution that a lot of people seemed fit, and that's why they were coming to see me. I didn't feel like we needed to raise testosterone or boost growth hormone. We just needed to get the body to be balanced. There's things that happen to us in life that can derail that. Toxicity in our air, to the way that we eat, but mainly the way we live. As we start to age, these things really toll on us. And it's real easy to go get an injection. All this stuff on the internet right now and seeing how it's kind of like being pushed as like this common thing that as you age and as you get into your 40s, you need to get on these therapies. I had to get on here and say, guys, that is total bullshit. Like, you do not need to do that. We have solutions available to us. You start to add things into your diet, like our mThrive, Thrivogen here. When you start to look at mStrength, when you start to look at mPower, when you start to look at mEnergy and stamina, Maca, pine pollen, elk, ant. When you start looking at these herbs, when you start addressing underlying issues of like people eating way too many nut and seed oils, not getting enough healthy fats, not getting, skipping meals, so not getting enough protein, not eating correctly, and being super stressed out, and you start to address this and then fill in the gap with these sacred noble substances, like this Thrivogen right here, things click over. Now, you're not going to get some crazy numbers like you would get if you were injecting stuff in your body, but these people feel better again. They have a sex drive again. They get what we call morning wood again, which is a strong indicator that your testosterone is where it needs to be. They stop getting gynoplastia, I think is the word, and I go like this because it's literally dudes' boobs turning, like dudes' nipples turning into boobs. It's like fat and glandules get in there and they start like getting these massive nipples. Because there's a real danger to when you take these things and you're not working with your natural systems. But when you start to add things like Thrivogen, when you start to add things like the pine pollen, ant, and things that I mentioned, these things are working with your body's natural responses or natural mechanisms within you that help produce those hormones naturally. So you're not artificially stimulating your body. You're feeding your body a missing class of nutrients that it needs to have those optimal levels, especially as we age. And then as you start to really dial in health and lifestyle, you start to see even better results. So I wanted to shoot this video to kind of let you guys know that there are solutions out there. I hate seeing all this stuff out there about like when you age, you just have to get on this stuff. Because guys, you don't. There are solutions out there. And I'll be damned if I ever take any of that shit. When you start to understand how you can harness your sexual energy, how you can really activate the perineum, how you can use certain exercises, sauna, lifestyle, and specific supplements, you'll never need to take some type of an exogenous substance that is not going to deliver you longevity or long-term sustainable results. You're just going to end up like all these guys that I dealt with in the beginning, 60, 70 years old, who have zero sex drive. They keep having to up their testosterone, up their human growth hormone, and then all these other issues start happening. So, anyways, if you guys find this video interesting, you got any questions or comments, I would love to create a dialogue with you about this because it's something that needs to be talked about, and we need to show that there is another solution out there. I've even been thinking about getting a few guys on my podcast to kind of show kind of what we did with them, what's been working for them, and where they are at now, and explain to you guys that, from the horse's mouth, like this is what is actually doable for you. Because I know I mentioned that, oh, you got to change this and change that and do all this stuff, and that might seem daunting, but it's actually not a lot. And when you start to understand why, and you start to feel the difference, not only will you never want to go back to the way you were, but the science as to why will make you feel almost foolish for living that way for so long. And like I said, we live in a fast-paced life. Sometimes it's easier to just take the quick shortcut, but at the end of the day, nobody wants that, right? At the end of the day, people want long-term, healthy, sustainable results, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you guys with the research and development that we've found and that we've seen through Crucial 4. So, signing off, much love. Thank you so much.